Alright, we got a 2000 Chevy S10 Blazer, and we're about to change the compressor pulley, clutch, and coil. We already unbolted it, we already unhooked the wires and stuff, and then that's when I remembered or decided we should make a video. So for this, you're gonna need a new clutch kit. So it comes with the new bearing, the pulley, and the coil on the back side. So this is basically the big electromagnet that pulls the clutch in, and it's going to come with a new clutch itself. I don't know if it comes with a new key. I don't see one, but the old key will work just fine. Alright, and a lot of the time you're going to need some sort of a clutch puller or pulley puller. So this is the deluxe kit. It's going to fit pretty much everything out there. The one we're going to use is, I'll find that out in a second, and we'll show you how to use it. Alright, so first step is to remove the belt on this vehicle. And the reason is there's not enough room down here to get access to the front of this. We already took the nut off. There's a key. You can see the key in there maybe. I don't know. Okay, so in your kit you want to find the one. This one's got some beat up threads on it, but you want to find whichever one fits your style compressor. You're going to screw that in. It doesn't take a whole lot of force to pull this clutch off, so you definitely want a few threads on it. But if it because of the dirt and whatnot, if it stops and doesn't want to go in really far, I wouldn't force it. It's probably got enough grab. That should be good, I think. Alright, then you're going to take your other piece and put it in here. And I don't know, yeah, now we're going to hold this and turn this way. Just hold, well, yeah, we can do that one. I don't think it's going to take a whole lot. I'm going to mount my camera somewhere. Hopefully that's a good view. Well, we'll just try to hold it where you got it and see if that's enough. I don't believe. Yep, yeah, it's doing something. I think you're using the camera. Probably. Sometimes these just wiggle off, but not on this one. In my last video, the one with the AC, how to test the clutch coil, somebody was commenting on how they couldn't focus on the video because of my hairy arms. That's a fucked up thing to say, assholes. Alright, so right here we've got a snap ring that has to come off. Nice. So we gotta get this snap ring off, and then we gotta use a puller and pull this pulley right off of there. And the coil is probably just pressed on. That won't take much. You could probably knock that off with a screwdriver, but we'll see. These hoses are like right in the way. Yeah. Snap ring off. might end up needing to use a socket or something on this. Did it slide right off? Try it one more time. I got it pretty good before. Moving. Yeah. Not working. Use a little socket to center it up. Why'd my phone louder this time? That is working much better. Alright, so one thing, we got to take note in case there's no markings of exactly where this plug is. And it does, it's got a little detent, so that's not going to be hard to figure out. And this looks like it is just pressed on there without a place to grab it, so I don't know, might not want to watch this part. Should I just pry it off? Hold this. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and clean this up, check everything, make sure it's ready to go back on. Okay, everything looks pretty good. So, we're going to line this up with this detent here where it came out. And this thing's sort of fragile. I got a socket that fits this ring here. And we're going to start with this. And tap it only as much as it needs. Looks like I'm a little bit off on my rotation. Let me start over real quick. Right. See if I can do a better job this time of getting it lined up. Because if you're off even a little bit and this hits the case, it's going to break. We don't want that. I really hate having to bang on it like that. a little bit crooked. I can't hit it because it's hoses. Try to move them hoses. Oh, thanks. Could have did that the whole time. Let's say that looks pretty good. And you want to make sure it is seated all the way down, because the pulley, when it spins, it'll actually grind on this, so it does need to be all the way in there. Alright, so next is going to be the new pulley. I'm going to get now, what does I usually do? I usually take this old, I usually take the old one and go on with it, but this one goes on pretty tight. So, grab the hoses again. That goes. You gotta get farther than because that lock ring. Yeah, not well. I can't. Got an old bearing race. That'll fit there. And I'll just put this on there. Might be there. Try the snap ring, or deformed snap ring. Screwdriver. It don't look quite right. Alright, there it does. Looks pretty good. So you always want to spin it after, make sure it's not hitting that coil. Alright, now we're going to clean this with some carburetor cleaner, because this needs to be, it's just like a clutch on a car. You don't want any oils or contaminants on it when you put it together. Alright, so this particular clutch doesn't have any, normally there would be some shims and you'd have to look up the gap. This particular one doesn't have shims, doesn't come with them, there's nowhere to put them. So hopefully they got it right in manufacturing. You take your new clutch, and I believe he's extracting the key. Now let's see here. It's just a square key. There's no. This one's a little bent, but we'll see if we can make it work. I don't know how much you can see here, but yeah, hold it just like that. I don't feel like it's lined up, but it's not wanting to go. So Might have to do one of those half on, half off deals. Oh, well, I got the curve probably the worst way I could have it. Spin it around this way. I'll put it on the key first. Fortunately, we're gonna have to give her a little love tap. Everything's lined up, so this is where we're gonna be at the point of no return. But show it straight up and down. I don't know if you can see in there, but the key is lined up. But there's not enough to grab to use the puller yet, so we're just gonna give it a little finesse. Moving. Yep. It's going in. Let me know if it stops. Another one. It's getting so much touching. There we go. Should be about right. Right. Just barely there. I think that's all the way. And then, where'd you do that nut? It's gonna be right here. Found the nut. Yeah, I mean, it'd probably, I don't know, I'd say maybe an hour.
Yeah.
Till we're done if you want it today.
I ain't gonna be around. Fixing to grab that truck, go fill it up, and go back to the house. If I had fucking more cash on me, I'd give you the full 300 and then just let me know whatever it is. I don't.
I'll figure it out, man.
Or at least something to down hold you over until I can see you.
That's about tight.
Been fun?
So that compressor actually feels pretty good.
Yeah.
And then
How bad were the bearings in that motherfucker?
that's it right there.
Shot.
Somewhere.
It fell into.
Oh, it fell apart.
Yeah.
Plug this in.
How long y'all been fucking with it?
A couple hours. A couple of trips. We had to go to the other side of town to get your bearing. Or your.
So it's just like the joy of fucking with bullshit.
And it was on and off, wasn't it? Like sometimes it would do it, sometimes
It was,
not.
and then it got consistent. And it stayed right steady.
It's not on that. What a compressor. I got this match. So. Comes out here somewhere.
Yeah, it's that water pump. At least partly, right? Something else. Clutch is bigger. Yeah. I pulled it off that idle port and I took it off. So.
Yeah, but something can't
You sure that don't go no? That looks good. Dang. Damn pull is bigger. No fucking way. Alright, go ahead and let it loose and we'll check. Oh, it is bigger.
It does look at that.
New problem. Sweet. You need a different belt, man. Sorry. It's the only one they offer. The only clutch they offer for this.
Yep, it is.
So, time out, I guess. Can't get the belt back on because this is the original.
How much are belts usually?
The original.
30.
Original pulley is smaller, so we're gonna get a bigger belt. And I don't know what size. Hopefully they got a listing for.
Going that whole time?
Well, this pulley's coming back off because we called, confirmed, and they gave us the wrong pulley. It's supposed to be a 655. They gave us a 665. Fucking dickheads. Well, changed it again because they gave us the wrong pulley. That kind of sucks, but it didn't take too long since we already had everything out to do it. So now it's time to do a function check. I guess you want to start it up while I get the hoses. Try it, see if it even works. Then is it on? We're not going to be able to do the high side. This valve's about to blow out. Well, compressor doesn't sound very good. Alright, so it's working pretty good. It's a little noisy, but AC's blowing cold. It's pumping good. When I filled it, I don't know if you can see this, but that valve looks like, I think if I were to put my gauge on this high side port, it would finish this valve off. It's not leaking currently. This is a buddy of mine's vehicle. So what I did, I just did it all from the low side port, which I don't like doing because I can't see what the high side's doing. But I just added it until I was able to raise the RPM up, and it didn't drop below like 20, 25. You know, kind of simulating like you're driving down the highway at a higher RPM, you're sucking down the low side. You don't want it to drop below that 20, or the low side switch is going to shut it down. So I did it like that just until the compressor stayed engaged and it stayed above 20, and that way I know I didn't overfill it, or I'm not getting too high on the high side, because the high side will change drastically where the low side won't. So you could be building up 450, like if there's a problem, like a blockage or something like that, you could be building up 400 or 500 psi on the high side and not even know it, and then not showing it on the low side. So we're gonna call this good. You can tell it's nice and cold.